All right, all right. I think I have it fixed. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate it. Cool deal. So, hope everybody had a phenomenal Monday. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Let's get rocking. We're a couple minutes behind. So, as always, let's try to follow distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. As always, we want to start our day off by taking massive action. That action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, centering yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading. Trust in your education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So let's get down to business. Got a decent amount to catch up on from a fundamental perspective. So we'll hop over to trading economics first, and we'll talk about interesting things happening over in the Gaza Strip in Israel. And then we will look at the calendar and then hop into some charts. All right. So let's see. All right. We'll start here. The dollar index cut earlier losses approaching neutral territory around 105.52 as investors are digesting latest speeches from Fed policymakers and bracing for the US CPI, I'm sorry, PCE price index report due later this week. The Federal Reserve should hold off cutting interest rates until there is substantial progress on inflation. Um, Federal Reserve President Kashkari stated on CNBC on Tuesday. He mentioned that the central bank might even consider raising rates if inflation does not continue to decrease. Meanwhile, the data on Friday is expected to show PCE inflation has not eased further, reinforcing the view that the first rate hike will only come into first rate hike will only come in December of this year. Probably meant rate cut there, but there we go again with the potential of a rate increase being put back on the table, right? You also had members saying that the Fed needs to see multiple months of sustained decrease in inflation in order to consider cutting rates. So that's the stance, right? And here it is. Fed policymakers continue to expect inflation will return to 2% over the medium term, although recent data has not increased their confidence in progress toward the target. Minutes from April meeting, that's what that showed, right? Officials suggest that the disinflation process would likely take longer than previously thought, and some suggest a willingness to tighten policy further should a risk to inflation materialize in a way that such an action became appropriate. So that's the conversation, right? So as Benny's been saying for a long time, don't see rate cuts actually happening due to inflation being a major issue still. All right. So we will watch that and see how the rest of the week plays out. Then we had Australia retail sales. They rise less than estimated. All right, so there was a low point there. Then OPEC, WTI crude futures rose towards $79 a barrel on Tuesday, rebounding further from 3-month low amid expectations that OPEC Plus would extend voluntary output cuts from 2.2 million barrels per day into the second half of the year at its meeting on June 2nd. On the demand side, markets await key U.S. inflation print. to assess the path of Federal Reserve monetary policy. Softer than expected reading on the PCE price index could bring forward interest rate got bet supporting the outlook for economic growth and energy demand. Traders look ahead to German and Eurozone inflation readings also. As the expectation is the ECB expected to cut rates next week. All right. Then you had Israel, another attack on city in the Gaza Strip, right? And tons of concerns around this from around the world. Israel is getting a lot of pushback from many countries because of this attack. And I don't know if you let me see. Can you guys see this? No, you can't see this, but there's tons of concerns around it, right? The strike killed 45 people, 45 Palestinians in Rafah, and Netanyahu even stated that the attack was a tragic error because there's been such major pushback from around the globe um, due to this. All right. Um, so many concerns around that. So there is potential for that to impact oil as well over the medium term. So we'll watch that and see how things continue to progress. Yeah, we could continue to see an uptick there in the Gaza Strip as that was unexpected in some cases, and some people did expect it. So we'll continue to monitor the things there. Over to the calendar. Yesterday, you had Governor Wade to speak. I'm sorry, on Sunday, you had Governor Wade to speak, and essentially he said that the BOJ things are starting to come into alignment, but they will move cautiously when it comes to their rate decisions to ensure that they are able to meet that 2% target sustainably. Then you had services PPI, right? Producer price index on the service side came in above expectation. That being above expectation supports the case for a BOJ rate increase in more of the near term potentially, right? Then you have that retail sales number yesterday for Australia came in below expectation. Today, or last night, you had FOMC members speaking. You also had BOJ CPI that came in below expectation, which we talked about last week. And we expected that to be lower than that 2% target. And the BOJ is also waiting on the wage increases to start to impact the market as well. All right. Then today we have consumer confidence for the United States, FOMC members speaking. Then you have CPI for the Aussie at 9:30. You have German CPI on Wednesday. Richmond Manufacturing Index. More members, central bank members speaking, not just from the FOMC, but the Reserve Bank of Australia and Chairman Jordan from the Swiss National Bank. On Thursday, you got GDP for the Swissy, and you got GDP for the United States along with unemployment claims. Pending home sales for the United States, more FOMC members speaking. Got Tokyo CPI, which is also expected to come in a little bit below expectation. Manufacturing PMI for China. And then on Friday, CPI for the euro, then PCE for the dollar, right? So relatively slower week, some reports sprinkled in. So we'll continue to monitor those and see how things go. All right. So that's where we are from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions? No? Oh, all right. Okay. Cool deal. So let's hop over to the charts. We'll take a look at the DXY. Here we are, right? DXY right? We saw a push up last week and we're coming back down this week, right? To start the week. So we'll watch and see, right? This 103,933 level. We'll see what happens here. If we're able to hold this level, give us a double bottom, then we could see those prices rise and take off to the upside. But we're waiting and seeing because this is a lower high, right? This is a lower high. So we want to see, do we get range bound or do we uh do we break out in a direction? Okay. So we'll watch this as it pushes back down. We could likely see that push down through the week and get us to Friday to those PCE numbers if there isn't anything that changes the market from the central bank speakers throughout the week. So DXY pushing back down to the downside. So we'll continue to monitor that there. What you mean reaching out yet? You talking about that breakout in one direction or the other? Let me see. Did I rush it? Yep, I rushed it. Okay, no, I appreciate that. So at the close of the day today, appreciate that. Yep. So we'll wait for today's candle to close for that swing high there. But that's the DXY. Appreciate that, Reese. Over to oil. Gonna come back. Here we are on oil, right? Larger perspective, that's the larger fib there. Okay. But we've been trapped here for a while in the smaller range. Okay. What I'll do is I will pull this out for now. And we'll just zoom in here. I'll take the cloud off for a second. And this is where we are, right? And you see on the daily time frame starting to peak above that trend line, right? This is our range here. That's the top of our range. We're headed back there. Okay. Bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom of the range. We're headed back to the top, $80.06. But we're breaking this trend line, which is key. Okay. Break of that trend line is key. So we'll continue to watch oil, but we could continue to see this press to the upside on oil, right? With the OPEC scenario, also with the geopolitical tensions around the world. Okay. So as we come down to the 4, all right, there's our trend line there, and you see the break of the trend line, and we got some indecision now on the 4-hour. So watching this, because here on the 4, we got this 80-20, right? Push down 3 times in that zone, and now we're pushing back up, finally breaking that trend line. So we'll watch and see if we're able to break 80-60. $84 is the next level that's in sight for us. All right. So that's where we are on the 4. If we drop the cloud back on, we're also breaking the cloud on the 4. Right. Also trying to break the cloud on the 4. So trend line break, cloud break. We don't have a Kumo twist yet, but we do have that TK crossover there. All right. That crossover, you see the push up. So waiting on additional confirmations on the 4-hour. If you trade oil on the 4 using the cloud, right? Waiting on that TK crossover to give us that additional confirmation. However, this is an 80-20 on the 4, right? So we're pressing back to the upside. If you had your trend lines running all the way through the lowest point, right, you would have gotten your trend line break already, right? Right in line with that TK crossover to the upside. Okay. If you wanted to, you could have drawn a tighter inner trend line here, but we'll drop down to the 1-hour and see this a little bit better. But there you go. So oil pushing to the upside. We'll continue to monitor that 80-20 as it moves, but looking for more upside on oil, at least in the short term, right? And we could even potentially have some long-term upside as well. Come down to the 1, right? You see where that cloud break came. So adjust these a bit. There we go. Right. You see 80-20 on the 1 hour as well. Right. Shallow retracement 118 127 zone. Couldn't break that 76.16 level. Push up. There's your trend line break there on the one. Right. And there's your cloud break as well. All right. So now we're continuing to head to the upside. So bullish action there. You got the cloud break on the one, looking for oil to continue moving long. All right. Maybe at some point we'll get a pullback, but at this point, what I'm looking for, and we might even get to this D extension, Reese. Um, we're talking about this in the community a little bit, but we might get to this extension before we get to that pullback. So we'll watch and see there. But looking for pullbacks and continuations on oil at the moment. Um, yep, right there. So we'll see if we get price to turn over and give us the retracement. If we do get this pullback, right, we'll look for price to come back into the zone and give us a low price. And then personally, right, I'm looking for continuations long. Okay. So we'll watch this here and see how this develops and see if we stay inside that D extension or if we hit that. But looking for price to continue long. Once we get to 80.06, then we'll see if we're able to break out above that. Yeah. See if we're able to stay below that 80.06 or if we break that level to continue this move to the upside. All right. Any questions on oil? No. All right. Cool deal. Let's do this. And cool. All right, so that's oil. Let's go to take a look at the Euro Swiss. Let's take a look at the Aussie Swiss. Um, Tyrone posted this one in the community, looking for the short opportunity. So daily time frame, we do have an 80-20 here, right? We've been watching this. We're getting that consolidation in that 118, 127 zone. We do have 59,296 here as a support level, just below that 236 level. So looking to see if we do get a retracement here, but it's just a matter of how deep does that retracement go. Got a stochastic moving to the downside into the buy zone. We'll see what this looks like, but we could potentially be in for at least a short-term retracement, and they're looking for low prices to get back long against the Swissy. We do have Chairman Jordan coming to the microphone again this week, so we'll see what he has to say. But could potentially be in for retracement. So we come down to the 4. This is what Tyrone was looking at here, right? We got a trend line break already. Pulled back, pressed down, we pulled back up to the upside. All right. So still hovering in the zone, bouncing along the cloud here. Okay, bouncing along the cloud. So um looking to see where this goes. Okay, looking to see where this goes. But but opportunity to get short here, right? So depending on what your additional confirmations are, we'll look for price to move back down to the downside. Give us, like I said, at least to similar to that daily time frame, at least that 59,296 level, which would be a decent move down. And then if we stay there, right, if that level holds, then we'll look to get back long. If it does not, then we'll look for lower prices and look for a low price to get back long on this Aussie Swiss. All
Ryan,
right.
do you have a crown pattern right there forming?
You're talking about right here.
Yeah.
Potentially. Let's go down to the 1 to look at that. Let's see. It's here on the 1, you're back and forth, right? So we could potentially have a crown pattern here. Yes. So it'll be interesting to see how the Swissy moves. All right, which one do we get? All right, obviously we're stuck in consolidation. We got the fibs in two different directions. We got a sell opportunity there. We got a deep retracement buy opportunity here, right? And bias is more long on this, just due to the weakness of the Swissy, but do we get a deeper retracement, right? So that's the question. So this will be interesting to see. Appreciate you pointing that out, Donette. All right, so we'll watch and see how deep this moves and see if this crown pattern plays out or if we get the retracement on the 80-20. So two different ways to look at it, right? Based on your trading plan and your bias, right? You decide which trade you take, okay? And do you have the confirmations, right? The answers to those yes or no questions to allow you to enter the trade in one direction or the other. Okay. Questions on the Aussie Swiss? No? All right. Cool deal. Aussie New Zealand. Aussie New Zealand. Daily time frame. You broke below, right? This 108,543 level. Okay. Strong bearish action to the downside. We know what we got fundamentally. We know we're seeing some strength in that New Zealand dollar. And we got some potential weakness in the Aussie just with some of that below expectation data. But we got stochastic in the buy zone here, right? And we got some indecision happening today. Okay, so do we get a retracement and a crown pattern to form here? Right? Do we get that type of action? Right? We know the market likes to take back some of these nice, strong bearish moves to the downside. So are we able to get that type of action and then potentially continuation to the downside in favor of that New Zealand dollar? Okay. Come down to the 4. Boom. Just wick that 118 level there on the 4. Okay. Take this out here. Take this out here, right? So just with that 118 level, we got some indecision happening, as we saw in the daily time frame, but are we able to get this retracement? All right, back to a high price of some sort, be it there in that trend line or even back up to that 109,486 level. Okay, so didn't push deep enough on the 4 for me, right? But indecision there right now. We come down to the 1, however, right? And we did press into that 118, 127 zone. And you see here, we got double bottom on the 1, right? And look at that, we're pushing to the upside there. Okay, so are we able to get long on this Aussie New Zealand? Okay, depending on what your confirmations are, look for the opportunity. There's an opportunity there, right? So you can wait on your trend line break, you can wait on your cloud break, but 80-20 opportunity is here. Okay. So see if we get high price here. And then opportunity to get back short. Questions on Aussie New Zealand? Nope. Give me 1 second, everybody. 8, 6, 7.
I was gonna ask for you to look at the 4 hour, like how Benny was describing. Look at the 4 hour and the 1 hour, depending on where you trade it to see where you would enter on this. Since they're kind of like in the same
Say that again, Donna.
Remember on Saturday, Benny was showing us, when you look at the 4 hour, you look at the 1 hour, um, for your entries, if price is at one level, because I think they're both in the same zone. If
Yeah,
you can show,
both are in similar zones. So I got what you're saying here. This one did push a little bit deeper into that 118, 127 zone. Um, and this one just wicked that 118 level, right? So, but this does go back to, right, the time frame that you choose to enter your trades off of, right? The time frame that you look for your additional confirmations on. They are close, right? Like I said, this one, right, came just shy of that 118 level there, right? And we're getting that consolidation. Let me bring that down. Boom, right? And we just wicked the 118 level, didn't quite get in there, but just wicked the 118 level there. Okay. Um, and that is right. It's up to you and your trading plan on which time frame you choose to enter on and what levels you also choose to enter on, right? Do you wait for it to push deeper into this 118, 127 zone, right? Or does this meet your qualification at that 118 level and you got a double bottom forming here, right? So that's an additional piece you can also look at as that double bottom. Um, both are close, right? So adding those additional layers will definitely help you to filter out some trades that may not meet your criteria. Okay. Did that did that help on it?
yeah. And I think we got a tweezer bottom there too on the 4. It looks like a
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right.
that'll be an additional confirmation.
Boom, right there. Right. And that tweezer bottom is ultimately what gave you this double bottom on the one. Right there. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see how this one moves. Right. Let's see how this one moves and see if we get some follow through here on a push to the upside. All right. Any other questions on the
Thank you.
Aussie New Zealand? You're welcome. No. All right. Cool deal. Cool deal. So let's slide to let's take a look at this Aussie dollar really quickly. We know where we are with the dollar, right? Um, Overall dollar pushing back down, but we got some potential weakness in the Aussie. But on the daily time frame, we got stochastic in the buy zone. So we could see more upward movement here, at least in the short term throughout this week. So we'll look to see where price goes. I got sub fibs coming off of the C here. Um, let's see how deep price continues to push. It's a daily resistance level there that will bring down. Do we get a double top action here, right? At this 67 135 level and then a push back down? Or do we break that level, take out the A on the sub fib, and come back into 78686 range on the capital fib to the downside there? Okay, so that's something to watch, right? Especially with that stochastic being in the moving into the buy zone. We could see some upward momentum throughout the week, the day today and tomorrow. We come down to the 4, right? And you see just press sideways overall, right? So we'll continue to monitor this one here. We come down to the 1, and you see where we are in the 1 hour time frame, similar to that sub fib on the daily, right? 786 range. See how deep this pushes. Okay. We could potentially see just consolidation continue to happen until we get to Friday. The market is looking for um, those PC reports, so we'll watch and see how things move You also have some additional data coming out on the Aussie as well. So we could see the market move sideways and then get a reaction in one direction or the other. All right. So I just want to keep my eyes on this one as we approach this A boundary here. Excuse me. As we approach this A boundary here, um, let's see where price moves, right? We could get a deep retracement and price turnover start to make its way to the downside, especially if the the central bank speakers continue to weigh in on the potential for rate hikes. If the market does not change, right? If inflation does not show signs of coming down. So if that narrative continues, we could see more bullish action on the dollar sooner opposed to later. So that's also something in the back of my mind. But that's a quick look at the Aussie dollar. Are there any questions here? No. Okay. Cool. Cool deal. Let's take a look at the Euro CAD. This one's in an interesting space, right? We're expecting the cut from the ECB. Canada overall hasn't been the strongest, but if you start getting an uptick in oil, you could see a slight shift in the Canadian dollar. Okay. Um, we got this crown pattern here trying to play out. We broke above this key level at 147. And price is looking to continue long. So just watching this one closely to see what direction we actually move here. Okay. We could see this consolidation and then see a breakdown or a pullback for continuation to the upside. You see your stochastic moving out of the sell zone now. Um, as we come down to the 4, we got this 80-20 scenario here, right? Pushing to the 118, 127 zone. We got to break down. Now we're pulling back. So do we see this pullback come a little bit higher and then give us an opportunity to get back short and look for a low price? Okay. That's what we could see here. We'll see how the New York session opens. Also, we'll see what those OPEC meetings have in store for us as well as we move through the week. So looking for this pullback to continue a little bit higher here, back into that 118, 127 zone. And then I'll be looking for a short opportunity to play this back to the 382. So I'm being patient on this, right? Just watching this develop so I can get my high price here. Because you didn't exactly get your trend line break on the 4, right? We'll look at it on the 1 as well, but boom. And then you could have run an inner trend line like that, right? But still didn't get that break, okay? So you're hovering at the trend line now, pushing back to the upside. But 80-20 there. Come down to the 1. You also got an 80-20. Okay, pushed into the zone. We got a breakdown. We also got to break the cloud. Now we're coming back to retest the cloud, right? But here on the 1, you got your trend line break. Okay. And there's your inner trend line there. Boom. Okay. So, head and shoulders. I don't quite see a head and shoulders here, Joy. No, I don't quite see it, but um,
I was asking because it looked like it is forming. If it's not a head and shoulders crown, um, start. Yep,
something like that.
yep.
I got you. Potentially, right? In that consolidation. I dig it. Good eye there. Right. We'll watch and see. There we go. We'll watch and see what that looks like, but it could be. It could be. Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Right. So if we get a push back up, form that right shoulder, and then a turn back over. Um, so let's see. Let's see how deep this retracement comes, right? I would like to see price come at least to around here. Um, like to see price at least come around here 148, 484. Right? Give a nice high price there back into that 118, 127 zone, and then opportunity to get back short. So my thought is to be a little bit patient here and allow the market to pull back and see how deep this retracement can get. Right? Push back into that 148, 484 zone, right? Gets us back into this range here, 618, 786. So here you can also measure your entry, right? And your stop loss based off of this sub fib to the downside. So be patient here, allow price to give us a push back into the sweet spot before we take an entry on this to the downside. Okay. Questions on EuroCAD? Nope, nope. All right, cool. Then pound yen. I want to come back here because we're approaching this 200 level again. All right, 200, 643. We have the extension just above at 201, 306. So this is going to be interesting to see how this develops, right? What happens at this 200 level? Are we able to break it? Do we get the strength out of the UK, or do we double top and push back down, right? Last week, Bank of Japan put out their warning about aggressive movement. However, nothing came about over the weekend, right? And prices basically just moved sideways. So um, this level is a key one, and watching closely to see how things transpire here. There is a potential for price to push up, get to the D extension, and then turn back over. So it's also something to watch. Watch closely there. We come down to the 4, and you see this push to the upside is pushing us closer and closer to 118, 127 zone on the 4. So if we hit the D extension on the daily time frame, could have an 80-20 on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. So we'll watch this closely to see where price stops, and slows down and stalls. Um, that could give us an indication that we could be in for a move back down to the downside, at least in the short term, right? Retracement, then for continuation long. Okay. Um, and then down to the 1. The extension on the 1 hour is in line with the 80-20 on the 4 and the D extension on the daily. So we could finish this fib out here on the 1 and give us the 80-20 on the 4. So we'll watch and see how this develops, but expecting weak yen, at least in the short term, with some changes coming in the near future. Excuse me. Um, yeah, so that's where we are on the pound yen. Any questions? No. Okay. All right. So that's the pound yen. Let's take a look at the dollar yen since we're talking about yens. And it's still hovering sideways. Okay. Still hovering sideways in that 118, 127 zone. It's up in the air right now on what direction we're going to go, right? If we get that dollar strength this week or continue to hawkish talk, we could see this push further to the upside. Okay. So just be cautious there if you're trading this dollar yen. Um, these consolidated moves have been interesting, but it's still giving us the retracements that we've been looking for, right? You just got to be patient with them and allow the market to do its thing while you ride the waves to the downside. Okay, so let's watch that there, but that's the dollar yen on the 4, on the daily, right? Range bound there. Okay, that's your larger 80-20 fib. Looking for at some point price to move to the downside, but what point is that some point is the question. So we'll continue to be patient with these. If they continue to run to the upside, we'll let them run to the upside, right? Unless you're trading these to the upside, then you'll manage your trade long as price does its thing. Okay. So that's where we are on the dollar yen. Any questions? Oh, all right. Cool deal. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you? Good morning, everybody.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Man, doing pretty good. Crazy busy.
I was like busy morning for you.
Man, I had a chance to do much of nothing besides work on that report. So, yeah, yeah.
I dig it.
Oh
I dig it.
man,
I hope you got it all finished.
I did. That's why I was able to jump on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything top of mind for you fundamentally, bro?
No, not right now. Right now, I'm diving into reading some of these articles this morning on these sites. So, I don't have anything right now as we speak.
All right. Cool deal. We did have some central banks meeting notes and central bank speakers reiterate higher for longer, but
Yep.
also the potential for a rate increase was also put on the table again. If inflation uh, does not cooperate. So
Wow. Yeah, man. So
yeah,
from 6 rate cuts to to possibly one to now possibly a hike.
and there are some there. Well, the investors anyway are still betting for one cut in December.
Yeah.
Um, so that's still out there, but the narrative from the Fed officials is we're not there yet, and we need multiple months of data to prove to us that we are, because their confidence in inflation moving to the target is lower than it was coming into the year.
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
narrative similar to Jerome Powell in his press conference.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Something else. I see Ueda spoke, what was that, last night at 8:05? I didn't
Sunday night.
Yeah.
Sunday night. Yeah. Yeah. And his sentiments were essentially they're going to um be cautious in their moves.
Okay.
Um they things are getting where they need them, but they're going to be cautious in the moves that they make,
Yeah.
just to ensure that they're able to get there sustainably.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, yeah, that was the kind of the tone of his conversation. But then you had um, services PPI above expectation,
Wow.
2.8. So um, that fueled the case for an increase, but you got UATA saying we're going to take our time. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually choose to do.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
the markets roll on. You typically you do see in the summer sometimes that things slow down a little bit, less volatility, but I don't know. This could be a pretty a pretty interesting and volatile summer. So, which is good. We like volatility.
Yeah, and
Um,
if you think about it though, bro, the past couple years,
yeah,
we made the most pips in the summer.
that's true.
We've had a couple
That's true.
thousand pip months in the summer.
Yeah, that's true. Well, being that we got elections coming up across the globe, especially here in the United States, and war still going on, what a mess that was, you
Man.
know. And then everything with these interest rates. So we'll see. Looking forward to seeing what we can get out of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Cool deal. Appreciate you, bro.
For sure.
NZD Swissy. So we know strength in the New Zealand dollar. Um, Price has been pushing to the upside. We broke this key level. Let's go back to the daily real quick. Here we are on the daily, right? Fresh B boundary broke previous weekly resistance level, right? So we want to see how things move here, right? Broke the key level. Do we get a pullback and then a continuation, or do we push into that 118, 127 zone first? All right. So that's where we are from a daily time frame perspective. So coming back to the one, this makes sense, right? Fresh AB boundary. We got an 80-20 there, right? This D extension is right in line with that 118, 127 zone on the daily. All right. So gonna watch to see, do we get a break and retest here and then a continuation to the upside, or are we able to turn over and give us a nice break back down to the downside first into a low price and then get back long? Okay. So that's on that's the 80-20 on the floor in the NZD Swiss, right? Add your additional confirmations on this one. Just to ensure that we get that additional motion, just because we know Swissy is weak and we got some strength last week out of that New Zealand dollar. Okay. So we're watching that there on the 4 coming down to the 1. Let's see where we fare here. Probably be off the next one. Yeah. So we're running a fib off the low here. Whoops. My bad. Can't get it right. There we go. So there's your fib on your 1. Also 80-20 here, right? Push to that 118 level. We got consolidation. We got a breakdown. So what I'm waiting for on this one is a break of the cloud on the 1, right? If I get a nice break of the cloud on the 1, TK crossover, right? Lagging span, Kumo twist. Then I'll look for that deeper move to the downside. So that's what I'm looking for here, because that potential of the break and retest is here, right? Just pulling back, retesting that cloud, and continue running long. So I need a nice break of the cloud on the 1 to enter this to the downside to play this 80-20 back to the 382. Okay. So that is the New Zealand Swiss. Are there any questions? Nope. Okay. Good deal.
Yeah, no questions.
Sweet. I got time. If you guys have 1 or 2 pairs that you got your eyes on, drop those into the chat. I got time for 1 or 2 that I can take a look at for you. If you guys have any. Or Ben, if you have anything top of mind, take a look at that also.
UCAD was a good one too.
Dollar CAD. Let's see. From a daily time frame perspective, look at that range. Look at the range. Came to the top of the range, trying to make our way back down. Trying to peek through the cloud. We'll see what happens there from a daily cloud perspective. Coming down to the 4. We've broken below the cloud. Let's run the fib off the low. Boom. So 50% retracement. Okay. Let's pull these out. Just look at the price action. So moving sideways, but we got a 50% retracement pushing back down to that level. Broke below the cloud on the 4 as well. Just hovering. So this is going to be interesting to see, right? But ultimately looking to see if we get dollar strength. Get dollar strength, we'll see this turn over, make its way back to the upside. Okay. Come down to the 1. Let's see. Boom. So we got 382 on the 1 hour. So we'll watch this and see what happens here, right? Do we get a deeper move back into the zone, or do we turn over and make our way back to the upside?
The fib to the downside is showing 80-20. That's what I have.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. And that's here on the 1 hour, right?
Yeah.
You got it running off this last leg down. Like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. Sub fit. Beautiful. I like it. Let's watch it and see. Let's watch it and see. I like it. All right. See if we get that additional confirmation. Trend line break, cloud break, push back to the upside. All right. That is the dollar CAD. Are there any questions? Appreciate that, Donette.
So I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on the 4 hour, based on what Donette just said, so I had my fib going to the upside, right? And so I had my fib going to the upside, and then I ran it to the downside just now based on what Donette just said.
Mhm.
So in a case like that, when you've got fibs running to the upside and the downside, how do you determine which one to make your decisions off of?
I would choose to simplify things if I had questions. And what I mean by that is using the capital fib in these scenarios, right? The sub fib gives you the smaller moves. And so if you drop down to your lower time frames, you'll see those moves more clearly. But I would remove all of that and just look at, well, does this meet my rules?
Okay.
Right? Just to simplify the process completely. And does this capital fib meet my rules? Yes or no, right? Until you get more comfortable looking at some of those smaller waves. And if you want to drop down to lower time frames, then doing that. But I wouldn't I wouldn't complicate the process too much, right? Because you'll get to a point where it's analysis paralysis, right? You
Yeah.
got fibs going in both directions. You got this happening, that happening, and you don't know what to do, and everything looks jumbled up,
Right.
right? So I would choose to simplify opposed to add anything additional,
Okay.
right? And just a way to keep yourself honest, right? And sticking to your rules and your discipline.
Okay. Great.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions? No? Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. You know what? Did you cover that Ozzy Swissy on the 4?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
that's one that I definitely have my eyes on.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, it's sitting pretty high right now. So see if it's pausing at that daily resistance level.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So no, that's it, man. I'm getting caught up on everything. So I'll probably have something later today to post in the group once I go through all my charts coming off the holiday and go through some of the reports that I'm working on right now.
All right. Cool deal, bro. Appreciate you,
Mhm.
man. Good people. Continue to be patient. All right. Continue putting the work. Continue to be patient. You guys doing a phenomenal job. We will be 6 p.m. tonight, accountability group. If you're able to tap in, join the conversation, um, tap into the resources that are being provided by the team, right? Doing a phenomenal job having engaging conversation, challenging each other to grow in different ways, challenging each other on the implementation of the things that you're learning. Um, accountability group is awesome if you're able to tap in. Um, any of the team members that are in the accountability group, you guys got anything to say or want to say regarding that before we wrap?
I'll jump in real quick. Morning, everybody. I just
Morning.
posted in there that from your Mindset Monday, what we discussed yesterday was to implement posting the things around our home, our goals, our cars, our computer, whatever is going to help your reticular activation system to get to those goals. So
I love it.
I have, we're starting to read a book, Zurich Axiom, beginning in the new month, as a group. So if anybody wants to, Zurich Axiom.
Zurich Axiom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the author. If Jeremy is on, you could chime in, but and that's about it. If
Appreciate
anybody else
that.
want to chime in about what they're doing, sure.
Any other thoughts on accountability group? No? All right. Appreciate that, Donette. Kay posted the name of the book in the chat, Zurich Axiom. Check it out, right? Engage in the conversation. It's a phenomenal opportunity that that the team is providing. So kudos to you guys. We greatly appreciate you doing that. Max Gunther. There we go. So definitely tap in 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Accountability group inside of the community. So if anybody that's watching a replay of this, if you're not a member of the Forex Trade Room, definitely become a member so that you can tap in with the group and the accountability group with some peers that will hold you accountable to the things that you say you desire. Have a phenomenal Tuesday, good people. We'll see you in the morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
Bye.